أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to the final review session for Protect This House, a class taught by Sheikh Yasser Birjaz for the Al-Maghrib Institute. Inshallah, this class is brought to you by Qabilat Bushra. This final review session will be covering the extended family and basically the conclusion of the class, which was a reference to Ibrahim alayhi salam. So the extended family, the word Rahim comes from kinship and womb. So the womb is called Rahim because the mother carries the child with mercy and compassion. It comes from, these are characteristics of Ar-Rahman, obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you think of Rahim and you think of kinship, that means essentially it's an indication that these relationships need to be carried out with mercy and compassion. Arham are the people who are the extended family. These are that's the word that was used. And the people who count as Arham there's two categories. They can be by blood or they can be by marriage. So kinship by blood or by marriage. By blood would be your brothers and your sisters, uncles and aunts, their children, cousins and so forth. And of course the one who have more rights are your parents and your grandparents and your children and so forth. By marriage is the parents-in-law and whoever is tied to you by marriage, that family also is part of your kinship and part of your arham. So why is it important to maintain kinship? The idea is that what helps us get closer to Jannah is maintaining ties of kinship. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you better rizq and a longer life and an easier path to Jannah, then maintain ties of kinship. And even if your family doesn't want you to, you still continue to do so, because those are the reasons you get better rizq and you get a longer life, and this also helps you get closer to Jannah. So this is a win-win situation. Anyone who breaks ties, that some of the dangers of cutting ties with family is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses these people. They will lose sight of, not lose sight as in terms of eyes, but lose sight of their heart, and they will not be allowed to enter Jannah until they sort this out. So this is very, very important. Kinship and extended family, maintaining ties, this is probably one of the main reasons and one of the best ways to get a quicker path to Jannah. So maintain those ties, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help us through this. Success in the akhirah. This is basically the end of this course, that how do we achieve success in the akhirah. And I think Sheikh Yasser very aptly described this as the ultimate success in the akhirah is that when you get to Jannah and you see everybody around you, your family, your kids, everyone whom you love, and that is the ultimate success in the akhirah, and that is something that we need to remember. And the example of this, the best household that is mentioned in the Quran, is that of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And there are many, many reasons why it is mentioned, and obviously the idea was that this was the household of submission. Ibrahim alayhi salam submitted. As soon as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him to do something, he submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he was asked to leave his wife and his son, he left them. The wife's submission is, we can see that when she found out that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had told Ibrahim alayhi salam to leave them here in this deserted place, she submitted immediately and she let him go. She didn't ask any further questions because she knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of them. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son to build the Kaaba, Ismail alayhi salam works with him. Again, complete submission on the part of the son as well. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam is asked to sacrifice Ismail alayhi salam. Again, complete full submission. There is no questioning, no confusion, nothing whatsoever. It is complete and total submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. And this is one of the reasons why this household was called the household of submission. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives this household, or uses this household, as an example of the best family household that we can think of. And this is how we need to think of as our households, because the closer we get to submission, there will be peace, more and more peace within the household. So submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. And finally, the class was ended by the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is in Surah Ibrahim and ayah number 40. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the dua that Ibrahim alayhi salam makes is that, my Lord, make me an establisher of prayer and from my descendants, our Lord, and accept my supplication. Our Lord, forgive me and my parents and the believers the day the account is established. This dua is a complete dua in so many ways, because Ibrahim alayhi salam is asking salah is submission, right? He's asking that, let me completely submit to you, and let my children also, my descendants also completely submit to you, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our du'as, and He accept whatever good that we do. And finally, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives the parents and the believers and the future generations on the day of judgment, inshallah ta'ala. So this was the final review session. There are many more details in the notes. Please go ahead and look through the notes before you take the final exam. Take the mock exam that we have up on the email as a practice. And if there is any other further questions that you have, please contact Qabilat Bushra. We would be glad to help you with all questions. Inshallah, the exam is scheduled to be on September 25th. You will be able to find the exam at almaghrib.org, and this exam will be available to you. It's an online exam. It will be available to you from 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. that evening. Please take the exam, inshallah, and register for our next upcoming class in December, in the first weekend of December. We will be sending out more details about that, inshallah. But please take the exam, and we look forward to seeing all of you again in December in our next class, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.